Hello to all of you bold, beautiful, brilliant, and highly evolved souls. I'm Davina, and today's topic is you are not re-traumatizing yourself. I had just gotten off a call from the distress line, and she mentioned something about re-traumatization, and I was like, no, I'm not being re-traumatized. I'm in a flashback, and I am healing. Um, yeah, I think as long as we are feeling, then we are healing. And I think there's a lot of stuff out there on like re-traumatizing yourself or your self-sabotaging or whatever. And I think this just brings a lot of shame and blame to us who are, um, who were victims of narcissistic abuse. So as I've mentioned, I am not an expert. I am not a clinical counselor or anything like that. So what I'm saying is my opinion, my belief, and yeah, of course you can take what you like and leave the rest. But it is my understanding that I am always in a flashback, that it is constant in my life. And of course, sometimes the flashback is at like a 10 and sometimes it's at like a 3, but there is always a flashback happening and I'm in one right now. Um, so I think that's a one key point to understand. And again, maybe this is not your point of view and that's fine. So, this is my what I've come to sort of believe is that every second of my life is a flashback, that there's always this background of shame, always a little bit of fear that is right there. This people pleasing tendency, it could just like, it snaps on in a second, as soon as I'm interacting with somebody, or, other things can be people pleasing as well. So I think that's one thing that I believe in is that yeah, flashback is constant. So therefore I'm not re-traumatizing myself. You cannot re-traumatize yourself. And in fact, you cannot get this wrong. And when you might often have these thoughts like I'm getting this wrong and this is also a flashback from your childhood, probably from your parents who made you believe that you were wrong and that you were doing things wrong, that you couldn't do things right. um, and so we might have that belief that we're getting it wrong. Well, I'm going to tell you that you're not getting it wrong, and I believe that flashbacks are inevitable. And so yeah, it's going to come up one way or another is what I think sort of happens. Like, we have thousands of emotional wounds on the inside that you can't see. If you could see them, it would look like, my body was covered in 10,000 bruises. Um, and so each of these wounds is seeking to be healed. And to heal, we need to, yes, we do need in a way to repeat that. So, if we have anger, then we're going to attract somehow, and I don't know how it works, somehow our subconscious attracts this person or situation that brings up that anger. And if we experience that anger, then we are healing that anger. So, yeah, I think this is basically how it works is, you know, triggers just come, they can be anything. And as you probably know, like you can you can be triggered all the time pretty much, just yeah, like I'm being triggered by my current situation of unemployment, and having people who don't respond to me it's been extremely triggering. It's like the whole thing is like almost like this regression kind of situation where I'm, yeah, reliving this kind of emotional hell from my childhood of, um, you know, parents who are not responding, and parents who seem to ignore me, and parents who don't show up. So I'm repeating these kind of same dynamics, but it's not really like I'm doing it. So it's not like I'm re-traumatizing myself. It's just happening. This is how the healing process happens, and healing is hell, you know? If yeah, I probably said this before, but if you feel like you're going through hell, then you are indeed healing. And yeah, I know that I remember also person that I knew also said, well, you should leave that, that job because you're just re-traumatizing yourself. And I was like, no, actually I wasn't, like, yes, my boss at that time was a narcissist, but that was exactly where I needed to be. I needed to see her, and I needed to see how she was interacting with her child, because I was still coming out of denial. I needed that. That was exactly what I needed to understand this at a deeper level. I never would have believed my mother was a narcissist, but being in flashbacks with that woman, I started to come out of that denial, and that's where I was. I was exactly where I needed to be. And in time, yes, I did leave that job. And in time, I even went further and cut off contact with that woman. So, this is just naturally like how it works, that you're exactly where you need to be. And this is another good phrase to use, like, you're not getting it wrong, and you're exactly where you need to be. Yeah, I know, again, the shame can always feel like, yeah, like this sense of being wrong or doing it wrong. But I really believe that somehow, and I don't know how this works, because it's probably a mystery to pretty much everybody how exactly this works. Like, what exactly is a flashback? Where does that come from? And like, I think there's nobody on the planet that truly understands the depth of what is occurring as we are healing. But yeah, so as I mentioned, like, whatever you're going through is a flashback. It's a flashback, and it's probably bringing up, all sorts of emotions, the shame and the anger and the fear and the helplessness and the hopelessness and the loneliness and the sadness and the depression and the grief, and all of it is coming up to the surface to be felt and to be released. And that is how I see healing. Yeah, so you're exactly where you need to be, and you cannot get it wrong. Life will somehow steer you exactly in the direction of the triggers that you need to experience to heal. And I do believe, I'm praying, because sometimes it seems like the triggers are so real, like this unemployment thing that I'm going through. It really feels like what if I end up like homeless, or what if I die because I can't make money and earn a living and live, like, it's terrifying, because this is the only way to re-experience what I actually went through as a child, which was that kind of horror. And so I do believe on some level that this situation is not actually, nothing bad will actually happen, that I will eventually get a job or get some way of earning money, and everything will kind of be okay. Of course, then there'll be other triggers and crap all the time. But um yeah, but just yeah, that's kind of what I want to say, is that, like, the healing is happening, and that these triggers that are, of course, making whatever your situation is go from like maybe it's already a 4 or 5 level, like it's pretty horrible, but it feels like an 11, because that's kind of, what, because we add on all our childhood pain. And so, like, I think pretty much everything I'm experiencing is bringing up my childhood pain. So yeah, I think that's kind of what I wanted to express. And yeah, you're on your way, and you'll sense the healing. I'm sure that you know inside yourself and inside your soul, and you can see, the very, very subtle, slow, gradual um changes and shifts that you're making, and sort of hang on to those and believe in those. And if you feel just a little more self-love today, or if you feel like you just people please just a little bit less today, that is proof, and that is evidence that you are healing and you're on the right track. So don't let anyone tell you that you're re-traumatizing yourself or you're self-sabotaging or whatever. um you know there's no easy way out of this. There really is not. You got to go right straight through the freaking pain. And that is what I wanted to say today. So thank you all, and I'm wishing you so many blessings of healing. What do I normally on your journey of healing and awakening? And I am Davina at Boldness Blooming. Thank you for watching.